Alright, builders. So as part of our first high performance habit, I wanted to dive into a more granular, specific habit as part of that seek clarity. And I do this because I have found that just this practice alone has changed so many lives. You see, most of us don't seek clarity on a consistent basis for our own personal life, and so we end up struggling to make progress outside of, let's say, work. In relationships, for example, we don't have the right questions to ask ourselves, and so we tend to ask ourselves negative questions that don't build us up, but kind of leave us in this spiral, right? And so we want to have, again, questions that elevate us and that give us appropriate thoughts or better thoughts in regards to the situations that we may find ourselves in. And one of the best habits or practices that I've found to help people elevate their thoughts is just by defining their best self. And this doesn't take a whole lot, it's just 3 words. All you need is 3 words to change your life. And I know that this is true. And let me tell you why. When I first started my foray into personal development, I found that, I wasn't very intentional about it. I've always had this psychological need to develop myself, but I wasn't purposefully going out, learning new tactics and strategies to improve myself. Until one day I was on a date with this girl, and she said, in college, we invested so much time and money in ourselves, and we do not do that anymore. Why don't we do that? And that question, honestly, it set a fire in my belly. I was like, you are right. I need to make this intentional. I need to be okay dropping money on me and my own personal growth, because I dropped thousands and time and attention and energy. So much of my life was spent in school, right? So much of my money as well. So I wanted to get back into that intentional learning again. So next week I found this app called Growth Day, and it was $39 for a whole year subscription. And I was like, heck yeah, let's fetch and go. I am fine with that. $39 for a whole year, dude, that's like pennies on the dime. So I bought it, and that app honestly changed the trajectory of my life. That app introduced me to this idea of 3 words. And the reason I say that it has changed my life, and what I want to get to, is that I found my wife because of my 3 words. I think it was earlier, last year, actually. We haven't been married that long. Last year, I was working on my 3 words, and I had decided personally that I wanted to be fearless, loving, and joyful. And the very Sunday that I decided that I would live into those words with every ounce of my strength and capacity, that I would be fearless, that I would be loving, and that I would be joyful. The day that I decided that I would live into those, every single door that I needed to open in my life at that time opened. That day, I found my wife. That day, I was struggling with pornography at the time, and I wanted to overcome that. I wanted to be vulnerable with that. I no longer wanted to fear that. And so I decided personally, to be fearless, I must act as if the fear that I experience every time I think about sharing this, I must act as if it doesn't exist, because that's my definition of fearless. I will act in spite of fear. And that day, I was fearless, man. I walked straight up to my wife and I struck up a conversation, which isn't something that I do on that day. I did it impeccably. I've done it multiple times, but I generally have to hype myself up, I gotta do some bounces, kind of close my eyes, deep breaths, be like, all right, let's go. Time to talk to this girl. But that day, no, I didn't need to do any of that. I knew what I was about. I knew what I was trying to do. I knew the impact I wanted to have. I knew the friends that I wanted to bring together. And I just did it. I was fearless. So that day, my life really took a change from, okay, we're kind of going up, to we are actually moving upwards. So these 3 words will change your life. And my goal for you is that you have, at the end of this video, 3 words that you can use to describe your highest self. The best of who you could possibly be. And I've had friends say, it's hard to choose 3 words, Sterling. I don't care. It might be hard, but I know that there are words that resonate with you more than others. And I know that if you lean into those, they are your natural and innate strengths. If you lean into those, your life will go up. You will improve faster. You will feel more connected. You will feel more engaged with life. And you will feel more satisfied with your progress on a day-to-day basis. So how do we find these 3 words? Going back to seek clarity, it's all about questions. And I would argue also a lot of visualization. So, builder, I want you to close your eyes and imagine your absolute best day. Alright? How do you get up in the morning? What kind of energy do you have? Or does that person, maybe they're separate from you, what kind of energy does that person have when they get up? What are the thoughts that are going through their head? What's the facial expression that they have? Because that's the morning, right? That's your morning routine. Next step is in the middle of the day, like as they're interacting with friends, family, what are the expressions you see on their face? Again, going back to the thoughts that are in their mind. What are the thoughts that they have about themselves and about the world around them? Is there like a pep in their step? Are they pretty excited? What words would you use to describe that person? Right? And then later in the evening is maybe you're coming home from work, maybe you're with family, maybe you are with friends, you're playing games. What are the thoughts you have there? What's the vibe? What's the energy that you have in that environment, right? So in each of these 3 areas, like morning, midday, and night, just your best day, what are the 3 words that would describe that person, builder? What are they? Write them down. Put them everywhere. Make them who you must be. Because if you have this psychological need to become that person, you are inevitable, and you will get there. You will arrive at your destination. You will become that person that you just saw. Right? Now, take some time, pause the video, maybe rewind, go back through the exercise again. The 3 words don't have to be forever. We're not looking for perfection. We are just looking for the best version of yourself that you can imagine right now. And if those words change next week, next year, in 5 years, that's okay. But find them now. Choose them now. Pause the video if you have to make time to write them down. But choose them. Choose them. Make them yours, striver. And you will be inevitable. I promise. They will change your life just as they have changed mine.